The old graveyard stood silent beneath the golden afternoon sun, casting long shadows over the resting place of many souls. Rows of weathered headstones stood like solemn sentinels, each one telling a story of a life once lived. They watched over the quiet residents below, guardians of memories and whispers of the past. But at the foot of one grave, a solitary figure mourned, a living testament to undying loyalty. Max, a scruffy terrier mix, lay with his head on his paws, his eyes reflecting a deep, unspoken sorrow. He kept a silent vigil by the freshly turned earth, his presence a constant reminder of love and loss. This had been his routine ever since his world had shattered, a daily pilgrimage to the place where his heart remained. His beloved owner, Jack, was gone, leaving a void that nothing could fill. Max refused to leave his side, his loyalty unwavering even in the face of death. Now, he found solace only in the familiar scent of earth and the faintest whisper of Jack's memory in the breeze, a gentle reminder of happier times. Each day, Max made the journey from the lonely cottage, his paws tracing the path they had walked together so many times. It was there that he and Jack had shared so many happy years, the walls echoing with laughter and love. He would lie by the grave, his body a small, grieving shadow against the stone. Sometimes he would whimper softly, a sound of pure heartbreak that echoed in the stillness. Other times, he would stare at the headstone with an unblinking gaze, as if searching for answers in the cold, unyielding stone. It was as if he could will his beloved Jack back to life, his eyes filled with a longing that words could never capture. Max and Jack. Theirs had been a bond forged in companionship. Jack, a retired shepherd, had found Max abandoned by the side of the road as a pup. He took him in, offering him warmth, a gentle scratch behind the ears, and a place by the fire. Max, in return, had given Jack his unwavering loyalty. He was a furry shadow, always by his side. They walked the rolling hills together, Jack with his shepherd's crook, and Max bounding ahead, chasing rabbits. They spent evenings by the fire. Jack would read aloud while Max dozed at his feet. Theirs was a simple life. It was filled with the quiet joy of mutual understanding. Now, that life was gone. Only Max remained, his heart heavy with a grief he couldn't comprehend. Every morning, as the first rays of sunlight kissed the dew-laden grass, Max would rise from his makeshift bed by the hearth. He would nudge his head against the empty chair where Jack used to sit. Then, with a heavy heart, he would set off on his daily pilgrimage. The walk to the graveyard was a blur to Max. His senses were dulled by grief. He moved like an automaton. Only the gentle sway of his tail offered a hint of the love that still burned within him. Upon reaching Jack's grave, Max would go through the same ritual. He would circle the mound of earth 3 times, sniffing the air as if searching for something lost. Then he would lie down, his chin resting on the cool stone, and close his eyes. 9 days passed. 9 days of silent mourning, of unwavering devotion displayed at the foot of a cold, unyielding headstone. But on the 10th day, something was different. The air, usually heavy with the scent of damp earth and fading flowers, carried a new fragrance. It was faint at first, a whisper carried on the breeze, but to Max's keen nose, it was unmistakable. The scent of wood smoke and heather, a combination that could only mean one thing: Jack. Max's ears twitched. His body, which had grown stiff with grief, suddenly came alive. He sat up, his tail thumping against the ground, his eyes scanning the path leading to the graveyard. Could it be? Could his beloved Jack have somehow returned? A flicker in the distance. The scent grew stronger. Now Max could hear it too. The crunch of footsteps on the gravel path. His heart pounded in his chest. He whined, a low, mournful sound that quickly transformed into an excited bark as a figure emerged from behind the ancient oak tree at the graveyard's edge. The figure was shrouded in the morning mist, its features indistinguishable. Yet Max knew. Every fiber of his being told him that this was Jack. He scrambled to his feet and lurched forward. His legs, stiff from days of lying on the cold ground, almost failed him. But the thought of seeing Jack, of feeling his hand on his head, gave him strength. He barked again, louder this time, a joyous sound that echoed through the silent graveyard. As the figure drew closer, the mist swirled around it like a ghostly shroud. Then, in an instant, the sun broke through the clouds. It bathed the graveyard in a warm, golden light. And there, standing before Max, was not Jack, but a young woman. She was tall and slender, with kind eyes and a gentle smile. In her arms, she carried a wicker basket. Max's tail, which had been wagging furiously only moments before, now drooped. His bark died in his throat. The scent, the wood smoke and heather, it was coming from the basket. Max sniffed the air again, his confusion growing. It smelled of Jack, of their walks in the hills, but something was different. Where was Jack? The woman knelt down before Max, her smile widening as she took in the sight of him. "Hello, boy," she said, her voice soft and soothing, as if she were speaking to an old friend. "You must be Max. I've heard so much about you from Jack. He spoke of you often." She reached out a hand and Max tentatively licked her fingers, sensing her gentle nature. Her touch was unfamiliar, yet there was a kindness in it that reminded him of Jack, his beloved owner. "He loved you very much, you know," the woman continued, her gaze drifting towards Jack's grave, a hint of sadness in her eyes. "He talked about you all the time, sharing stories of your adventures and the bond you shared. He would have wanted you to be happy, to find joy again, even in his absence." She opened the wicker basket, and Max's tail gave a hesitant wag. Curiosity piqued. Inside, nestled amongst soft blankets, were 4 tiny puppies, their eyes barely open, each one a bundle of potential joy. The scent, the unmistakable scent of wood smoke and heather, was strongest now, filling the air around them. It was coming from the puppies, a comforting and familiar aroma. Max's heart, heavy with grief only moments before, now swelled with a new emotion, a glimmer of hope. He sniffed each puppy, his tail wagging harder with every sniff, feeling a sense of belonging once more. The woman explained that she was Jack's daughter, that she had lived far away and had only seen her father occasionally. She shared stories of her childhood, reminiscing about the times they spent together, and how Jack always had a special place in his heart for animals. "He was so proud of these little ones," she said, gently lifting a puppy from the basket. She described how Jack had found the puppies abandoned and had taken them in, nurturing them with the same love and care he had shown to everyone in his life. "He was looking forward to training them with you, Max. He believed that you had a special gift with animals, just like he did. He said you'd make a fine teacher. He often spoke about how you had a natural ability to understand and communicate with dogs." And suddenly, it all made sense. The connection between Jack, the puppies, and Max was clear. The scent, the puppies, the woman's presence. It was Jack's way of ensuring that Max wouldn't be alone. It was his way of passing on his legacy and love. It was his final act of love for his faithful companion. Jack wanted Max to have a purpose, to feel needed and loved. From that day forward, Max was no longer alone. He found solace and joy in the company of the puppies. He embraced his new role as protector and teacher to the puppies, his days filled with playful nips and gentle guidance. The puppies brought a new sense of life and energy into his world. He still visited Jack's grave every day, but now he was accompanied by 4 furry bundles of energy, their laughter echoing through the once silent graveyard. The graveyard, once a place of sorrow, was now filled with the sounds of joy and life. As the sun began its descent, casting long shadows across the graveyard, Max lay by Jack's grave, A puppy nestled contentedly on either side of him. He looked at the headstone, a low whine escaping his throat. He missed Jack, would always miss him, but he knew somehow that his beloved owner was at peace. The love that had bound them together in life had not ended with death. It had merely transformed, taking on a new form in the playful antics of the puppies. And as Max closed his eyes, the scent of wood smoke and heather filling his nostrils, he felt a sense of peace settle over him. He was no longer just a dog mourning his owner. He was a testament to the enduring power of love, a living reminder that even in death, some bonds remain unbroken.